Hey there, LEGO fans. Welcome to the top 10 LEGO sets of 2021. This is okay, I'm just kidding. But I have a feeling this set will appear in my top 10 at the end of this year. Anyway, this is number 21325 Medieval Blacksmith and is the latest LEGO Idea set, and it takes us back to simpler times when you didn't have to worry about the pandemic because there was the plague. You didn't have to worry about your retirement, because you'd never make it past 50. And you never had to think about what LEGO sets you wanted, because you were too busy all day being oppressed by your nobles. Ah, nostalgia. Anyway, the set contains 2,164 pieces, which are used to build the house itself, a carriage for the knights with a horse attached, and 4 minifigures. The main construction has 3 levels in total, and let's start off like used to cast bronze back in the old days, starting from up high and going down low. The roof uses a bunch of Nexonite shields to create that slat effect, and it looks perfect, especially with the color variation that's included, with black and dark blue and normal blue. And that green up there, I think, is supposed to represent either moss or decay due to weather and rain. On this side, we also have a dormer as well as the chimney, and I really like the fact that they didn't go a very simple route with the chimney, just like a hollow stone structure, and they put these 2 things on top. I don't know exactly what they're called, flues or something. And this part of the roof is not made to be detached, at least not easily. You first have to take off the dormer and the chimney, so it's not really made for that. But the opposite side is really easy to take off, and then we can see the interior, where we have the most comfortable LEGO bed I have ever seen in my life. I swear, I just want to transform into a minifigure right now and jump under the sheets right this second when I look at it. Anyway, next to the bed is a chest where we can find a compass and a backpack, which it kind of reminds me of the the hitchhiker from the collectible minifigure series that came out a few years ago. I don't know if you have any conspiracy theories regarding that, let me know in the comments. But next to the bed is a black bear pelt stretched on the floor as a carpet. On the opposite side of the room, there's a writing table with a quill, some ink, and a lamp. And it looks like either the blacksmith or his wife are a bit of a storyteller. All right, let's go down 1 floor and we get to the kitchen. In this corner, there is a barrel where you can churn some butter. Then we have the oven itself with some good stuff boiling on there. Next, there's a chopping table there. I love how they use that round tile just to represent a slice of carrot. That's pretty perfect. The rest of the room is taken up by a table with 2 chairs, and I want you to take a look at the backs of the chairs. They're built using minifigure axes, it just looks excellent. And then below the stairs, there's a barrel that you can use to store, I don't know, pineapple juice, kiwi juice, ale, whatever you want. And then we have the door to the outside. The ground floor is stone built, and houses the workshop of our diligent little blacksmith. In here, you'll find a bunch of tools, a bunch of raw material, as well as pieces of equipment that are in various stages of being worked on. You can see the iron ingots there in the crate in the corner. You can see a mound of coal. You can see the anvil there in the middle of the room, which has an ingot that's just been freshly taken out of the forge and is glowing red hot. And by the way, the forge can be accessed from both the inside and the outside. And on the outside, if you press this bellows here, you will light up the forge, which looks really, really nice. And now that we're outside, let's take a walk around the house. Let's start here at the tree. Looks like an apple tree. Right beneath it, there's a small well. And then moving on, there's this little cubby here where they store the firewood safely away from rain and humidity. Then going around, we can see the entrance to the workshop, as well as a bunch of more swords and tools and stuff here. We can see the outside section of the forge. I want you to notice this little transparent blue part here, which I think is supposed to represent the water that you use for quenching the blade. Although you would use oil to quench the blade, and you wouldn't actually quench a blade that already has like the guard on and the hilt and everything. Never mind. I've been watching too many documentaries. Let's keep on going around the house, and we find this little pumpkin patch here right beneath the workshop windows. There's also a little bone here, which is for the puppy included in the set. And the last side of the house is relatively plain, but at least you can see here on the back of the tree, they hung up a target that you can use for shooting arrows at. The carriage it's alright. I was kind of hoping it would be a little more complex, or at least a little more detailed, but it's alright. There's a horse up in front, and they do include some extra pieces for when the horse is not hooked up to the carriage, so it just looks like a normal horse. And inside the carriage is a bunch of equipment that the knights use. And since I mentioned equipment, I really want to show you how many pieces of armor, weapons, and tools are included in this set, because it's quite impressive. And now let's go to the minifigures. Our good old blacksmith is wearing a leather apron. He has a very, very manly beard and long hair. And I'm going to take those off for a second so you can see his face. Now that is the perfect face for a person who's like really focusing on their work, hammering the metal. And I just love this facial expression. It's perfect. The opposite one kind of suggests to me that he just got called to dinner. It's like he's been working all day, he's very hungry, he's worked up an appetite, and his wife is just calling him to dinner, and he's like, whoa, about time. Anyway, next is the archer, which I have considered to be the blacksmith's wife. But I mean, it doesn't have to be. It can be his sister, his daughter, his mother-in-law if you want to. She has a quiver on her back and a bow and arrow, and her facial expression is good, but the alternate one is even better. Again, a perfect expression for when she's like aiming with her bow and trying to shoot. I think it's just wonderful. Now, moving on to the knights. They are dressed exactly the same, apart from the pauldrons that they're wearing. They are part of the Black Falcon faction, as you can see from the designs on their tabards and on their shields and everything. And the one on the left kind of reminds me of Reinhardt from Overwatch. I don't know why, but I really like his face. It looks like he's kind of like a wise man, but he also has a sense of humor, you know what I mean? Now, his companion, the other knight, as I said, is dressed basically the same apart from the armor piece. She has a bandana on her face, and that hairdo is quite unusual, I would think, for the time, though I have no way of knowing for sure. Anyway, none of them have alternate expressions. What you see is what you get. This set reminds me a lot of the Fishing Store from LEGO Ideas, the one that came out a few years ago. It's so full of details, and it has a very mature style. It's very harmonious. Everything blends together wonderfully. All three of the levels look very different, and yet they blend together so well, from this weird curvature of the roof, which gives it a lot of character, like the designer himself said, to the wonderful half-timbered design that the rest of the house has, and then with the stone right at the foundation. It just, it looks so good. Actually, I think the biggest compliment that I can give this set is I want to live in it. Like, I want to be a minifigure kid that runs around the house all day and plays hide and seek behind those stacks of wood right there, and picking apples out of the tree, and going to bed at night in that lovely bed. Oh God, I love that bed so much. Anyway, I think you understand the point. It's just, it looks so inviting and so captivating, and there's not a bad side to this set. It just looks so wonderful. If I had maybe one thing that I would like to see different, and I'm not even sure about this, but I would be really curious to see what it would look like if the house didn't split into floors, but rather split into halves. You know what I mean? Like hinged halves. I think that could be very, very interesting for display as well. And for play, of course. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the latest LEGO Ideas set, number 21325, Medieval Blacksmith. I think it's a wonderful addition to the LEGO Ideas collection. They're just killing it lately, I swear. And, well, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy building!